You're cruising down a winding road, wind whipping through your hair, sun warming your face, and you've got complete control of a machine that weighs less than most grocery carts are loaded. And here's the kicker, you didn't have to sell a kidney to afford it. That's the magic we're talking about today. If you've been searching for that perfect blend of driving, thrills, and open-air freedom without emptying your bank account, you probably heard whispers about one particular car. It's been winning hearts since the late 80s, and somehow it just keeps getting better. Today, we're diving deep into the latest version of this legendary Roadster, painted in a color that turns heads at every stoplight. The real question is, does it still deserve its throne as the king of affordable sports cars? Stick around, because what I discovered might surprise you. Now, let's talk about what makes this thing tick. Pop the hood and you'll find something increasingly rare these days, a naturally aspirated engine that actually loves to reverend. We're looking at a 2-liter, 4-cylinder power plant that screams all the way to 7,500 RPM. And listen, I know what you're thinking. Only 181 horsepower. That's barely enough to excite anyone in today's world of 700 horsepower SUVs, right? But here's where you'd be completely wrong. This engine is a masterpiece of efficiency and character. It's part of the latest generation engine family, and when it was updated a few years back, they didn't just slap on some fancy marketing. They genuinely improved it. The power jumped from a modest 155 horses to the current 181, and torque sits at 151 pound-feet. More importantly, they raised that red line, giving you permission to wring every last drop of performance from this naturally aspirated gem. You've got 2 transmission choices, but honestly, there's only one correct answer. The 6-speed manual is absolutely sublime. It's one of those shifters that makes you want to find excuses to change gears. The throws are short, precise, and every shift feels like a rifle bolt clicking into place. Sure, they offer an automatic, but if you're watching this video, you're probably not interested in that. This car begs to be driven with 3 pedals. Here's something cool. This year's model features a redesigned limited slip differential. It's a mechanical asymmetrical unit that helps put power down when you're getting a bit enthusiastic with the throttle. And trust me, you will get enthusiastic. This thing is rear-wheel drive only, and combined with that limited slip difference, it means you can easily rotate the car through corners with just a lift of the throttle. It's pure, unadulterated fun. Fuel economy? You're looking at 26 city, 34 highway. Not bad for a sports car, right? The tank holds just under 12 gallons, and you'll want to feed it premium fuel. Yeah, it'll run on regular, but with such a free-revving engine, why would you cheap out? You're looking at about 340 miles of range on a full tank. Performance numbers? 0 to 60 happens in around 6.5 seconds. Now, before you scoff at that, remember, this isn't about drag racing soccer moms and SUVs at red lights. This car weighs just over 2,400 pounds. To put that in perspective, the original version weighed around 2,100 pounds, so keeping weight this low in today's world of safety regulations and modern tech is genuinely impressive. Top speed sits around 137 if you're curious, but honestly, who cares? That's not what this car is about. There are whispers about a hybrid version coming soon, possibly as early as next year, but nothing's confirmed yet. For now, this pure gasoline setup feels just right. Let's talk about how this thing looks, because appearance matters, especially with a Roadster. The design has aged like fine wine. When this generation first dropped nearly a decade ago, it was stunning, and it still looks fresh today. The proportions are just right. Everything flows together in a way that makes sense. That signature red paint? It's an optional upgrade that costs a few $100, but it's worth every penny. The color shifts in the sunlight, going from deep crimson to almost orange depending on the angle. It's gorgeous. Up front, you've got updated LED headlights with a modern light signature. The daytime running lights, turn signals, and main beams are all LED now. The higher trim gets adaptive headlights, but even without them, the lighting is excellent. One small complaint. They removed those distinctive running lights that used to sit near the grille and replaced them with fake vents. It's a minor styling compromise, but you barely notice it when you're taking in the whole package. That front splitter on this trim adds a touch of aggression, and the glossy black finish contrasts beautifully with the red paint. The proportions are fascinating. This car rides on a 90-inch wheelbase and stretches just 154 inches in total length. It's actually shorter than the original from the 80s, though slightly wider. That width gives you a bit more interior room, though we'll get to that later. Those wheels deserve special mention. They are lightweight alloy pieces that look absolutely perfect tucked under those subtle fenders. Behind them sit performance brakes with 4-piston red calipers up front, proper equipment for spirited driving. The tires are relatively skinny by modern standards, just 205 section width, but that's intentional. Narrow tires mean you can have fun at lower speeds without risking your license or your life. The retractable hardtop is engineering magic. Press a button and watch those flying buttresses move out of the way as the top disappears in about 13 seconds. It's mesmerizing every single time. And here's a brilliant part. When the top is down, you get that classic Roadster silhouette, but when it's up, you've got the security and refinement of a coupe. Best of both worlds, and it only costs about $2,000 more than the soft-top version. Around back, the design remains clean and purposeful. Those flying buttresses frame a rear window with a little wind deflector. The LED taillights got updated recently with a revised light signature that looks modern without being overwrought. There's a subtle integrated spoiler that adds a finishing touch without being boy racer ridiculous. And yes, it keeps the traditional single exhaust with dual tips, a signature touch that enthusiasts appreciate. Cargo space? Let's be realistic here. You've got about 4.8 cubic feet of trunk space. I managed to squeeze in a 22-inch roller bag plus a regular backpack, but it's snug. If you're planning a weekend getaway with someone special, pack light. Anything beyond minimal luggage goes in the passenger seat. This isn't a practical vehicle, and it doesn't pretend to be. Now, let's slide inside. And I mean slide, because getting into this thing requires a certain amount of flexibility and technique. You have to duck your head, angle your body just right, and kind of pour yourself in. Once you're settled, though, magic. The seats on this trim are phenomenal. They are these gorgeous Recaro buckets wrapped in a combination of Alcantara-style suede and real leather with contrasting gray stitching. They look expensive, they hug you in all the right places, and they are only adjustable 6 ways manually. No power seats available, even on the top trim. Honestly, you don't need them. The manual adjustments work perfectly fine. One styling quirk: the upper door panels match the exterior body color. It's a unique touch that some love and others find a bit gimmicky. I think it looks cool, but your mileage may vary. The rest of the door is wrapped in leather with some carbon fiber look trim pieces. Storage in the doors? Basically non-existent, but you knew that coming in. The dashboard layout is straightforward and driver-focused. The steering wheel is starting to show its age. I was honestly hoping for an updated design with maybe a flat-bottom configuration, but they are probably saving that for the next generation. The gauge cluster is mostly analog with a small digital display nestled between the main dials. The tachometer sits front and center where it belongs, with the speedometer off to the right. Here's where things get interesting. Last year, they updated the infotainment system to an 8.8-inch display. It's not a touchscreen by default, unless you're using smartphone integration. Then it magically becomes touch-enabled even while driving. The native system still uses a command controller down by your right hand, and honestly, it's not the best system in the world. But wireless connectivity for both types of smartphones is standard, and that makes up for a lot of sins. Climate control is simple, single-zone manual setup. Heated seats have 3 levels of warmth, which is appreciated during cooler morning drives. You've got 2 modern charging ports now, which is a nice upgrade from older versions. No wireless charging pad, but considering the size of this center console, there's barely room for one anyway. That shifter, though, it's absolute perfection. Short throws, precise gates, and a mechanical feel that makes every gear change satisfying. To get into reverse, you push down and shove it all the way left. Simple, intuitive, and it prevents accidentally grabbing reverse when you're going for second gear under hard acceleration. The backup camera is basic but functional. No parking sensors, no fancy trajectory lines, just a simple view of what's behind you. The screen doesn't even fill the whole display, but it gets the job done. Storage is hilariously limited. The center console is shallow, the cup holders pull out from the side, and are basically useless for anything taller than a can, and there's no traditional glove box. Instead, you get a little cubby on the passenger side that hold the basics. The traditional handbrake is still here, Thankfully, because electronic parking brakes have no place in a proper driver's car. One button controls that magical hardtop. Press it, and you're treated to a 13-second ballet of mechanical precision as the roof either stows or deploys. It never gets old. Here's the thing about this interior. It's snug. Really snug. If you're over 6 feet tall, you might struggle to find a comfortable position. Well over 6 feet? You're probably not fitting at all. Your head will be above the roofline, which is neither safe nor comfortable. This car deserves to be driven with the top down anyway, but it's worth knowing before you fall in love. The materials are decent for the price point. Hard plastics in some areas, but real leather where it matters. The contrast stitching is a nice touch throughout. Everything feels solid and well assembled, even if some design elements are clearly carried over from nearly a decade ago. All right, let's get to the good stuff. What's it actually like to drive? Because at the end of the day, that's all that matters with a car like this. And let me tell you, even after driving countless vehicles over the years, sliding behind the wheel of this thing never fails to put a massive grin on my face. Fire it up, and there's this delightful little rev as the engine comes to life. It's not loud or obnoxious, just a friendly reminder that you're about to have some fun. Clutch engagement is smooth and predictable, sitting a bit toward the end of the pedal travel, but never vague or confusing. Let's address the elephant in the room. 0 to 60 times. We managed 6.3 seconds on our best run, which is genuinely impressive for a manual transmission, rear-wheel drive car with no launch control. You have to get the revs just right, slip the clutch smoothly, and bang through the gears. It requires a third gear shift to hit 60, but the whole process is so engaging that you don't care about the actual time. Here's what the numbers don't tell you. This car feels faster than it is. The lightweight chassis, the direct steering, the way the engine eagerly revs to its 7,500 RPM redline, it all combines to create an experience that feels genuinely quick. You're not worried about keeping up with traffic. You're too busy enjoying every single gear change, every throttle input, every corner. And speaking of corners, this is where this car absolutely shines. The steering is communicative, precise, and perfectly weighted. It's not overly heavy, but it's not numb either. You can feel exactly what the front tires are doing at any given moment. Turn-in is immediate, and the chassis rotates with just a lift of the throttle mid-corner. The suspension setup uses sport-tuned dampers, and while there's definitely some body roll present, it's intentional. They could have made this thing track car stiff, but then it would be miserable on real roads. Instead, the suspension soaks up bumps nicely while still providing enough feedback to know exactly what's happening beneath you. That limited slip differential is a game changer. Get on the throttle hard coming out of a corner, and you feel it distributing power to both rear wheels. But lift mid-corner or give it too much gas, and the tail will happily step out in a progressive, controllable slide. There's even a track mode for the stability control that lets you get a bit sideways without completely disabling the safety net. And honestly, getting the tail out is addictive. The balance is so neutral, the feedback so immediate, that you always know exactly where the limit is. You can dance right at the edge of grip without ever feeling like you're about to lose control. It's confidence-inspiring in a way that few modern cars manage. The engine loves to reverend. It doesn't have that aggressive cam changeover that old performance engines had, but it pulls smoothly and willingly all the way to redline. The sound isn't particularly loud or aggressive from the factory. In fact, that's one area where improvement would be welcome. A more vocal exhaust would add another dimension to the experience. As it sits, you hear a pleasant induction howl, but not much exhaust. What really makes this car special is how it rewards smooth driving. Heel-toe downshifts, trail braking into corners, balancing the throttle to rotate the car. All the classic driving techniques work beautifully here. And because the speeds are relatively low compared to higher-powered cars, you can explore the limits without risking jail time or worse. Visibility is excellent, especially with the top down. The roof up? It's acceptable, though those rear buttresses create small blind spots. But let's be honest, you're not buying this car to drive it with the roof up. With the top down, the world opens up around you. You feel connected to everything, the road surface, the surrounding environment, the weather. It's an experience that closed sports cars simply can't replicate. The ride quality deserves mention. Despite the sporty setup, this isn't a punishing car on rough pavement. Sure, you feel bumps and imperfections, but it's never harsh or uncomfortable. On the highway, it can get a bit busy over expansion joints and broken pavement, but around town and on back roads, it's perfectly agreeable. Fuel efficiency during spirited driving? Surprisingly good. Even when wringing this engine's neck regularly, the computer showed just under 30 miles per gallon. That's impressive for a sports car, and it means you can have fun without constantly stopping for fuel. Now, let's address something important. What's it like living with this thing day to day? Because while it's absolutely brilliant for weekend blasts and evening cruises, using it as an only car presents challenges. First, the interior space. It's cozy, some might say claustrophobic. Getting in and out requires flexibility that not everyone possesses, especially as we get older and less limber. The seats, while supportive and good-looking, aren't the most comfortable for extended periods. They are on the narrow side, which means broader individuals might feel squeezed. Cargo capacity is laughable by practical standards. That trunk barely holds a weekend's worth of luggage for 2 people. Planning a longer trip? You'll need to be very strategic about what you bring. Compare that to competitors with actual back seats, and the practicality gap becomes obvious. Highway driving presents its own considerations. The ride is fine, but you're acutely aware of just how small this car is compared to modern SUVs and trucks. Surrounded by massive vehicles, you feel a bit vulnerable. Maybe that's just the wisdom of age talking, but it's worth considering if this will be your daily driver. Noise levels with a top-up are higher than you'd expect. Wind noise, road noise, engine noise, it all combines to create a busier environment than you'd find in most modern cars. But drop that top, and suddenly it doesn't matter. The wind rushes over the windshield, the sun warms your skin, and all those little imperfections fade away. The driving position is near perfect if you fit properly. The pedals are well placed for heel-toe techniques. The shifter falls naturally to hand, and the steering wheel, while not adjustable enough for some, works for most drivers under 6 feet tall. Technology-wise, it's adequate but not cutting-edge. That updated infotainment system is a significant improvement over the previous version, and wireless smartphone integration is genuinely convenient. But compared to the latest systems from other manufacturers, it feels a generation behind. The native interface is clunky, and you'll probably just use your phone's interface most of the time anyway. Safety features are basic. You get a backup camera, blind spot monitoring, and that's about it. No adaptive cruise control, no lane keeping assist, no automated emergency braking. It's a car that expects you to be actively involved in the driving process at all times. For some, that's a dealership. For enthusiasts, that's perfect. Let's talk numbers, because everything costs money, right? The base soft-top version starts under $30,000, which is genuinely impressive for a modern sports car. Move up to this trim level, and you're looking at around $4,000 more. The hardtop adds another couple thousand on top of that. Throw in that gorgeous paint and destination charges, and the test vehicle here landed around $42,000.